Ford's muscle car legacy captures a unique part of automotive history. Ford's muscle cars embody the spirit of the golden era of car manufacturing, when engineers and designers were given free rein to experiment and push the boundaries of what was possible, and represent technological advancements over time. So, let's look at the 12 rarest muscle cars produced by Ford. Developed by Ford Australia, the GT-HO Phase 3 was designed to dominate the local racing scene, specifically targeting the prestigious Bathurst 500 race. At its heart was a potent 5.8-liter 350 cubic inch V8 engine, producing 300 horsepower, which was considered formidable for its time. This engine allowed the GT-HO Phase 3 to accelerate from 0 to 60 miles per hour in just 6.4 seconds, making it the fastest four-door production car in the world at its launch in 1970. To enhance its performance, the GT-HO Phase 3 featured numerous racing-oriented upgrades. It featured a reinforced suspension system, a heavy-duty close-ratio 4-speed manual transmission, and larger brakes for improved stopping power. With only 300 units produced, the GT-HO Phase 3 is a coveted collector's item today. Its limited production run and racing success have cemented its status as a classic, symbolizing the golden era of muscle cars in Australia. The 2000 SVT Mustang Cobra R made its mark as the fastest factory-produced Mustang of its time. This high-performance machine was powered by an SVT-developed, naturally aspirated 5.4-liter V8 engine, delivering an impressive 385 horsepower. This powertrain enabled the Cobra R to accelerate from 0 to 60 miles per hour in just 4.4 seconds and complete the quarter mile in 12.9 seconds. With a top speed of 170 miles per hour, it was engineered to dominate both the track and the road. The 2000 Cobra R was built with performance in mind. As a result, it featured track-capable brakes that allowed for a complete stop from 60 miles per hour in just 127 feet. To enhance performance, like many of the vehicles on this list, the car was stripped of unnecessary features and creature comforts, focusing on weight reduction and agility. Inside, Recaro racing seats provided support during high-speed maneuvers, while the exterior featured dual-side exit exhaust, a front splitter, and a high-mount rear wing, all of which contributed to its stability and handling. Limited to only 300 units, the 2000 SVT Mustang Cobra R was available exclusively in Performance Red Clear Coat. The 1963 Ford Galaxy 500 Lightweight embodies the golden era of American drag racing. Ford created the Galaxy 500 Lightweight to dominate the NHRA's Superstock drag racing class, focusing on weight reduction and raw power. At the heart of the Galaxy 500 Lightweight was a high-performance 427 cubic inch V8 engine, delivering a formidable 425 horsepower. This engine was built for speed, with high-flow cylinder heads, a solid lifter camshaft, and dual 4-barrel carburetors. Paired with a 4-speed manual transmission, the car could accelerate from 0 to 60 in just over 6 seconds, a remarkable feat for its time. To achieve its lightweight status, Ford stripped the Galaxy of unnecessary components. Aluminum was used for the bumpers, hood, and fenders, while fiberglass replaced the trunk lid. Interior luxuries were sacrificed for speed, with features like sound deafening, heaters, and radios removed. These modifications resulted in a car that was about 425 pounds lighter than the standard Galaxy. Only 212 units were produced. The 1964 Ford Thunderbolt is celebrated for its raw power and racing pedigree. Built specifically for drag racing, it was a limited production vehicle with only 127 units made. The Thunderbolt's allure lies in its engineering and performance capabilities. Under the hood, it featured a 427 cubic inch V8 engine capable of delivering an impressive 425 horsepower. This powerhouse was paired with either a 4-speed manual or a 3-speed automatic transmission, enabling the Thunderbolt to achieve quarter-mile times in the low 11-second range. To maximize performance, Ford made several modifications to reduce weight, including fiberglass hoods and bumpers, plexiglass windows, and the removal of non-essential interior features. These changes, combined with its aggressive styling, made the Thunderbolt a force to be reckoned with on the drag strip. The 1993 SVT Mustang Cobra R was the first of its kind, designed to be the ultimate version of the Fox body Mustang before the 1994 introduction of the fourth-generation Mustang. Ford's special vehicle team focused on performance, stripping out 450 pounds of excess weight and fitting the biggest brakes possible. The SVT engineers added a strut brace across the front and a V-brace to improve shell rigidity. Underneath these braces was a 5-liter Windsor V8 producing 235 horsepower at 4,600 RPM and 280 pound-feet of torque at 4,000 RPM. The performance was impressive for 1993, with 0 to 60 miles per hour in 5.7 seconds and 60 to 0 miles per hour braking in 140 feet. One of Ford's most significant expenses when building the SVT Mustang Cobra R was its brakes. Heavy-duty 13-inch Kelsey Hayes vented rotors were installed on the front with 10-inch vented rotors in the rear. The Cobra R was intended to be a road-legal race car, and some did compete successfully in series like the International Motorsports Association Firestone Grand Sport Series and Sports Car Club of America World Challenge Class B Series. Ford built just 107 examples of the 1993 SVT Mustang Cobra R. The Twister Special's legendary story begins with American Raceways International's request for 1970 Mustang convertibles to be used as pace cars and limited editions. Ford's Special Promotions division was tasked with designing unique side stripes and graphics for the project. However, when American Raceways International went bankrupt, Ford repurposed the package for the Kansas City dealer sales district as a special regional promotion for Mach 1s and Torino Cobras. Named after the frequent Midwest tornadoes, the 96 Mach 1 Twister Specials were sequentially numbered. Each car was painted in grabber orange with a black interior and featured a functional shaker hood scoop, power steering, and power front disc brakes. The Twister Specials were distinguished by their black mid-level side stripes and tornado decals on the rear quarter panels. As top-of-the-line Mach 1s, they included grille-mounted fog lights, aluminum lower rocker panels, a black honeycomb rear panel, competition suspension, a 3.5 traction lock differential, and a deluxe bucket seat interior with molded door panels, console, wood grain trim, and 3-spoke rim blow steering wheel. In 1965, the Fairlane lineup was successful but lacked a high-performance model to compete with GM and Chrysler's top contenders. This changed midway through the 1966 model year with the introduction of the R-Code option. Previously, the Fairlane's most powerful engine was the 390 cubic-inch Thunderbird, producing 320 horsepower, but it struggled against the Mopar Elephant engines. The R-Code replaced it with the legendary 427 cubic-inch side-oiler engine, featuring upgrades like forged pistons, high flow heads, a hot cam, and dual 4-barrel carburetors. It delivered 425 horsepower and 480 pound-feet of torque to the rear wheels via a 4-speed manual transmission, available only on the Fairlane 500. With its distinctive fiberglass hood scoop and dash-mounted tachometer, the R-Code 500 stood out despite its understated exterior. Ford produced only 57 of these high-performance models in 1966. The McLaren M81 Mustang is one of the rarest Mustangs ever produced. After the Mustang II era, Ford wanted to make a strong statement that the Mustang was back in the performance arena, and partnering with McLaren was the perfect way to achieve that. While many might not immediately associate McLaren performance with Ford, it wasn't the first time the McLaren name was linked to Ford's performance legacy. Bruce McLaren, the founder of McLaren Performance, was one of the drivers who secured the iconic 1-2-3 victory for Ford at the 1966 24 Hours of Le Mans. Although Bruce McLaren had passed away before 1980, McLaren Performance continued in his honor, earning a reputation for producing high-quality performance vehicles. The Mustang II era saw a shift toward fuel efficiency with a lineup of four-cylinder Mustangs. However, with the launch of the third generation, Ford aimed to prove that it could balance efficiency with performance. The goal of the McLaren M81 was to unlock the full potential of the 2.3-liter turbocharged four-cylinder engine, which Ford had been promoting as a performance option. The M81, designed by Todd Gerstenberger and Harry Wykes, took the base four-cylinder engine and heavily tuned it, adding a variable boost control with a range of 5 to 11 psi. It also featured a spoiler, hood scoops, fender flares, an improved suspension, and 15-inch German BBS alloy rims. These enhancements gave the M81 a top output of 175 horsepower, allowing it to accelerate from 0 to 60 miles per hour in 9.76 seconds. Despite positive reviews, only 10 of the planned 250 McLaren M81 units were produced. Although Ford's Special Vehicle Operations Department often receives credit for the McLaren M81, it was the creation of SVO that ultimately halted the production of the McLaren Mustang. The 1970 Ford Torino King Cobra was a purpose-built machine designed specifically to challenge the dominance of the 426 Hemi-powered Dodge Charger Daytonas and Plymouth Superbirds in the NASCAR racing series. Ford president Bunky Knudsen tasked legendary designer Larry Shinoda with creating a car that could outpace Dodge's formidable entries. Shinoda, along with a team of skilled designers, embarked on transforming the Torino into a NASCAR aero beast. 3 prototypes were built, each equipped with a different big block engine: a Boss 429, a 429 Cobra Jet, and a 429 Super Cobra Jet. Initial track testing at Daytona showed promise, as all 3 Ford King Cobras easily surpassed the 200 miles per hour mark. However, further testing revealed several issues that needed to be addressed. The rules changed before these problems could be resolved, and the cars could be homologated in a street car form, a NASCAR requirement for all entries. With Lee Iacocca becoming the new president of Ford, the King Cobra project lost its momentum, and the hopes for its NASCAR future was extinguished. On August 18, 1966, the San Jose plant had just begun production of the 1967 Mustang when it received a special order from Shelby American in Los Angeles for 3 Mustangs: a fastback, a coupe, and a convertible, all to be painted in candy apple red. These vehicles were to serve as production prototypes for potential development into Shelby product lines. The coupe was outfitted with a special order 428 Police Interceptor engine featuring a medium riser 2x4 intake. The build sheet also included a black deluxe interior, air conditioning, tinted glass, and a remote mirror. Overseen by Shelby Chief Engineer Fred Goodall, the project involved immediate modifications to the drivetrain, interior, and exterior, quickly becoming Fred's favorite Shelby. Known as Little Red, this one-of-a-kind experimental notchback was designed to explore the possibility of including a coupe in Shelby's lineup for 1967 and 1968. Shelby aimed to blend new engineering with innovative styling, creating a vehicle where SoCal hot rodding met Ford engineering in production. With a history of merging high performance and great style, Little Red was no exception. Built by the same team that was assembling GT40s for Le Mans at Shelby's LAX plant, it was nicknamed Little Red for its big block heart and striking red color. Little Red began its prototype career as a test bed for cutting-edge Shelby technology. The original 390 cubic inch V8 and C6 automatic were immediately replaced with a 427 cubic inch FE big block power plant, aiming to balance high performance with compliance with the new 1968 emissions requirements for Ford sedans. By early January 1967, a Paxton supercharger was added to the mix, an early test for its potential use in the GT500. Carroll Shelby later asked Fred to evaluate how Little Red's Paxton supercharged 428 cubic inch performed with a Shelbyized C6 transmission and used it as a testbed for the 428 cubic inch 4-barrel and supercharged engines. The immense torque eventually broke the C6 tail housing, leading to a swap for a cast-iron Lincoln tail housing. Over time, numerous engine and transmission combinations were tested on Little Red, with Fred using it as his personal vehicle to experiment with drivetrain setups on his daily commute to Shelby. The legendary Shelby prototype, known as the Green Hornet, holds a unique place in automotive history as one of the few factory prototypes from its era to survive the Crusher. It serves as a living testament to the innovations happening at Ford and Shelby American during the heyday of American muscle cars. In 1967, the Ford team was inspired by a prototype Mustang called Little Red, which led to the creation of the California Special, also known as the GT-CS. As part of this initiative, two prototypes were built. One was a lime gold 1968 Mustang notchback with a deluxe ivy gold interior, a 390 cubic inch V8 engine, and a C6 automatic transmission. After making its rounds on the show circuit, Ford decided not to proceed with the GT SC program. However, instead of being scrapped, the lime gold notchback was sent to Shelby American to become a new kind of prototype, a Shelby. Dubbed EXP 500, this experimental Shelby became known as the Green Hornet. The car underwent numerous modifications, becoming a platform for design, performance, and handling innovations, including an experimental Connellic fuel injection system, independent rear suspension, and a unique rear disc brake configuration. The Green Hornet became the pet project of Fred Goodall, chief engineer at Shelby American, with both Fred and Carroll Shelby dedicating significant time to testing and developing components for the project. Most concepts and prototypes of that era met their end in the Crusher, especially those that didn't reach production. However, fate intervened for the Green Hornet. A Ford executive's fondness for the car and his savvy handling of paperwork saved it from destruction, allowing it to exist quietly for decades until it was rediscovered and restored to its former glory. Its story and significance have been widely documented. For years, it was believed that the Green Hornet had been destroyed like Little Red had been thought to have been, and its existence became an urban legend. Its miraculous rediscovery, documented by Fred Goodall himself, confirmed its authenticity. As a double prototype and an experimental platform for innovation, the Green Hornet represents the pinnacle of Ford and Shelby's achievements. Another unique entry in the One of One Club is the 1967 Ford Shelby GT500 Super Snake, which Shelby American originally crafted as a demonstration vehicle for Goodyear to showcase its Thunderbolt tires. Carroll Shelby and dealer Don McCain envisioned a market for cars with performance exceeding that of the existing Shelby GT500. Having led Ford's GT40 racing efforts, Shelby was persuaded by McCain to install the 427 cubic inch race engine from a GT40 into the GT500, which was originally set aside for tire testing. Shelby engineer Fred Goodall was eager to comply, outfitting the car with the same engine that powered the GT40 MK2 to victory at the 1966 24 Hours of Le Mans. The result was a Mustang boasting approximately 520 horsepower and a top speed of 170 miles per hour. It was McCain who later coined the name Super Snake for this extraordinary vehicle. The Goodyear tire test was a success, even though the white wall Thunderbolt tires were the narrowest ever fitted to a Shelby GT500. After Shelby himself drove the car to a top speed of 170 miles per hour, Goodall averaged 142 miles per hour for around 500 miles, demonstrating the tire's durability. Despite its impressive performance, the public was less enthusiastic about the GT500 Super Snake's price tag, which at $8,000 exceeded that of a 427 Cobra. Ultimately, only the test car was built, making it one of the most coveted vehicles for any serious Mustang collector.